Why is this little box worth $2 million? Walter scoffed.
Because it's not just a gold jewelry box. It's gilded ivory, Kevin replied casually. As soon as he said this, the whole shop suddenly became silent. Except Lily. Everyone there was an expert in antiques. They understood where he was going with this. Just take a look underneath. You can see a bit that wasn't covered in gold leaf. Of course, it doesn't make sense to cover valuable ivory with gold, but someone decided to do that. Kevin looked over at Walter and could see that he was a little uneasy. The onlookers still weren't completely convinced. After all, maybe Kevin was just trying to impress Phoebe by refuting Walter's opinion on the object. One of them even scolded Kevin. "You really expect us to believe that? Leave the discussion to the real experts." Truman looked a little embarrassed as he stood there and listened to Kevin. He still didn't understand how the box could be worth so much more than Walter had said. While it had been illegal to trade in modern ivory objects since the early 70s, antiques were usually grandfathered in and completely legal. But that still didn't explain why the box had been covered in gold leaf. "Honey, are you sure you're right?" Lily asked in a worried whisper. "Don't you believe me?" Kevin answered softly.
"Then how can you explain this?"
Walter looked at Kevin like he was some kind of fool.
"Why the heck would someone take a valuable antique and change it so that its value would actually decrease?"
That's a very good question. A gold jewelry box would have some value, but it wouldn't be worth a small fortune, Kevin explained as he picked up the delicate object. "But did any of you actually test the gold?" Then Kevin walked nonchalantly behind the counter and took a bottle of rubbing alcohol and a rag.
"What do you plan to do with that?" Walter looked both irritated and confused at the same time. "Just watch and you'll see what I'm talking about." Kevin couldn't help smirking a little. "What happens when you wipe cheap gilding with rubbing alcohol?" The whole antique shop fell quiet. You could have heard a pin drop. Kevin put some alcohol on the cloth and wiped away the gold color from one of the corners, revealing a beautiful ivory box with incredible detail. The light coat of gold leaf had obscured a lot of the original artist's work. "How do you explain this?"
Walter was still challenging Kevin, but he knew it wasn't going well for his own appraisal. "It's very simple." Kevin turned to look at Mr. Jordan, who was standing there with his mouth hanging open. Then he asked, "Did you buy this from someone who'd imported it back in the 80s? "How did you know?" Mr. Jordan asked in shock. Kevin explained. "In order to sneak this piece into the country, someone covered the ivory with a cheap coating of gold leaf. That wasn't really necessary for an antique, but they probably didn't know how old or valuable it actually was." While Kevin spoke, he took out a needle and heated it with a flame. Then he touched the underside of the box and continued to explain. It eventually ended up in the hands of a collector, but they had no idea that this is genuine ivory. You can see how there's a tiny scorch mark and you can actually smell the ivory a little. Whoever sold this to you knew that it was a 14th century French piece, but they never checked to see what it was really made of. They were all amazed at Kevin's explanation and began to see that his appraisal was probably correct. "If you buy this box, Truman, you definitely won't lose any money on the deal." Kevin put the box back on the counter and everyone began to admire it in a new way. "You really know your stuff." Mr. Jordan was very grateful to Kevin and gave him a thumbs up. If Kevin hadn't been here that day, he would have taken Walter's advice and lost the $500,000 that he had originally spent on the item. All the antique experts in the room were astonished at Kevin's knowledge. They started to feel sorry for criticizing him just a few minutes before.
"Hang on, Truman. I'll make a quick video call and get my teacher Tristan Gabriel to help you sort this out."
Walter pulled out his phone to make the call. "Is this young man a student of Tristan Gabriel?" They all began to wonder. They couldn't believe that one of Gabriel's students was there with Truman Anderson. He was one of the world's most foremost experts on antiques.
Walter could hear what they were all whispering to each other, and it boosted his ego a little, especially since Kevin had just shown him up. Walter knew that Phoebe was still interested in Kevin. If his mentor put Kevin in his place, that would certainly make him look a lot better in her eyes. Soon the video call was connected, and the face of a thin elderly man appeared on the screen. "Walter, aren't you supposed to be in Chicago right now? Why are you calling me again?" Gabriel's voice was a little harsh sounding.
"Sir, I just appraised an antique jewelry box, but someone here said that it's worth 10 times more than my estimate,"
Walter explained simply. "What? Can you show it to me?" Tristan was excited to see what his student was talking about. Nobody in the store could believe that Walter was able to get in touch with his renowned expert so quickly. It was very impressive. They'd all heard of Tristan Gabriel, but it was rare to see him in person, even on a video call. While everyone kept whispering to each other, Walter pointed his phone camera at the box on the counter. After a moment, everyone heard Gabriel's voice booming out of the phone's speaker. "Haven't you learned anything from me? Don't you know what this is?" No one had expected him to be so grumpy. But what they really wanted to know was what this expert's appraisal was. Who was right, Walter or Kevin?
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.